Hello, and welcome to Film Logic, a movie podcast about the movies of yesterday, today, and tomorrow with every fandom in between. I'm Mike. I'm with my good buddy Adam. Adam, happy Movies Day to you.
Happy Movies Day to you.
All right. What's exciting in your world?
Oh man, Mike. What a great question. I'm kind of in a lull in terms of new movies that are coming. I'm kind of patiently waiting for Gladiator 2, and we talked a little bit about Nosferatu last time. And yeah, so I'm just kind of abiding and waiting for these next kind of movies to come out. So I'm kind of dry in that aspect in terms of movie in the theater. But what about you, Mike? Have you been? How are you? What are you up
Well,
to?
I'm excited that I get to see my maybe third or fourth theatrical release, and I get to see it with you this Thursday.
Yeah,
Venom: The Last Dance. And
yeah.
I went to the library and I got the second one, so I am not going to be caught with my pants down on the Venom trilogy. No siree.
I love that for you.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know the first one. I mean, I guess we could save the reviews for when we, the next time we
Oh,
record.
yeah.
But
Next episode, I mean, we can give our predictions. My prediction, and this is more said with tears in my eyes, is that there's no way this movie is going to make me think, oh, I was totally wrong to misjudge it. This is the movie of 2024. My prediction is I'm not going to say that. And the other side of my prediction is going to be like, oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it didn't make sense much here, and this was kind of weird, but it was fun. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll do okay. It's got some really lofty predictions for the box office for this movie. Um it's projected in, the several hundreds of millions of dollars, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Um
I'll tell you one thing. Growing up, Venom was like a xenomorph.
yeah.
Horrifying. You did not want to get stuck in a building, much less a spaceship with Venom. He ate, killed, he was savage.
Yeah.
And these movies aren't taking Venom that route.
Yeah.
And so everything is going to be based on that. So maybe I have to change my attitude. I have to say this isn't a scary monster that gives children nightmares. It's more of a fun monster. It's like Cookie Monster,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think if you were to ask a comic book fan in the late 90s, hey, in 30 years there's going to be a highly anticipated movie in 2024, and it's either Spider-Man or Venom. Which do you think it's going to be? I don't think anyone would have guessed Venom.
Yeah. First, they would have said, "Oh man, a Venom movie, probably going to be rated R. He's probably
Right.
going to kill at least 3 A-lister Marvel guys." And that's where you laugh and like, "Oh, you summer child."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It for the adaptation that it is. I think it's fine. It's for what it is. It's cool. I get it. I understand why people enjoy it. Have enjoyed the first and the second, but I don't know. It just feels like there's not a depth there that brings me back.
Mm-hmm. Is this part of the Sony villain verse where they kind of just get Spider-Man villains?
Yeah,
And
right. I think so.
okay, yeah, those haven't done so well, and I kind of wonder. It just really makes me wonder, like, what the people at the big table are thinking. Okay, if we're gonna go forward with this villain verse, we have to correct our mistakes. And then I would love to be a fly on the wall, wondering what they think the mistakes are, so that they don't get the next Morbius or Madam Web.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if they necessarily even really care.
Mm-hmm.
Because these movies just keep kind of making money. Like, we go, ah ha ha, we laugh at Morbius, but it still grossed $167 million on a budget of 83. I mean, it's not like,
Right. And
and
I agree with you. I think the numbers are more important to the execs than one of them thinking, well, no one's gonna think of this as a cult classic if we don't do it right the first time.
right. That's yeah. They're looking for the big names, and they're looking to cut corners where they can, and yeah, because I mean, the last movie, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, was it grossed $506 million on the tail end of COVID. So
Wow.
like,
That is wow. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about the best Shrek movie only made 700 million.
right,
So, yeah, that's a hard thing to do.
right.
So,
It grossed. I'd be interested to see the Venn diagram of movies that grossed that much money, but still have like a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes.
right. Or maybe we're just wrong. Maybe this is like art. This is like belongs at the loo, and
Yeah,
we're
maybe.
wasting our time on Oppenheimers, and when really this deserves our attention.
Probably not.
Nope. Yeah. I couldn't get through that sentence, but
No, not for me. But I mean, the Venom movies have played well with audiences as opposed to with the critics. So the Let There Be Carnage has an 84, while the Rotten Tomatoes got a
mhm.
57. So maybe that's just what people want. They just want a popcorn movie and they don't want to think about it.
Yeah, there has to be like a master class on the psychology of popcorn movies and escapism and how to make them profitable.
Right.
Or maybe I'll teach it. Yeah. So I have a few fun gems that I've been watching.
Yeah.
So the Tomb Raider series
Yes.
came out on Netflix. It's an animated series.
Hmm.
Animation is kind of close to the Last Airbender,
Yeah.
and how clean and like pristine it looks. Like nothing really muddy or shaded, or everything just looks straight lines, great color. Yeah, and that's very very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
And they chose to go with classic Lara Croft, not the newer game ones where she's like young and vulnerable, but as much as a toughie she is, much as she's like a gun wielding conqueror, she also cries in every episode. So there's 8 episodes, and it kind of deals with her PTSD and guilt over losing family members and losing friends. And every time someone brings up like a friend or a family member that she might have failed, she like breaks down into tears. I kid you not, I would never make up that about a Lara Croft story.
Right.
It definitely adds some depth. You definitely walk away thinking, oh, I can really get behind this character. She's voiced by Haley Atwell, so bravo to that. And don't think that people are just going to be like, oh, this is, taking away the coolness of Lara Croft, because in between crying scenes, she's doing like crazy parkour and shooting arrows at demigods. So
Right. As
I
you
think,
do.
yeah, I think this is one of those ones that just is going to hit well with everyone. And if you're a Lara Croft fan, you're definitely going to be like, oh yeah, this is a lot of fun. This is a thrill ride. If you're not, and you just want to see a girl kick butt while talking about her trauma, you'll also kind of get something out of this too.
I love that.
Yeah. So that was
That's
my
really great.
first nugget.
Mm.
My second nugget is I saw the movie Barbarian. It was on Hulu, and I didn't know this existed. But my wife Lynn, she kept seeing all these ads, and then she looked up the movie, and it's like people are saying it's great, and it's got Georgina Campbell and Bill Skarsgård,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about someone who goes into a B&B and finds that like it has a whole house, a whole living space underneath the basement, And what lurks there is the monster, and the monster is not Bill Skarsgård this time.
Shocking.
Yeah, so definitely it's horrifying. It's got Justin Long. He comes in at the second half of the movie, and he's kind of like this jerk, and like you instantly want to hate him. And I think that was kind of the topic of the movie. They were trying to play it not so subtly that like the guys in the movie, they just continue to gaslight Georgina Campbell in like the most tropiest way ever. Like she'll say, "There's a monster in the basement." It's like, oh, I don't believe you. I'm so sorry, Georgina Campbell. I just don't believe you. I know you're saying it. And then Justin Long character is like, I don't want to follow what you're going to do, Georgina. I'm sorry. It's not the right way. And so it's like a super pageant on like guys being doofs and idiots. And you should have listened to the girl. And that's not even talking about the monster. The monster is just like, I won't give it away because that's kind of like the big reveal. It's like, where did the monster come from? But it's, once you learn about it, you're like, oh, that's gross. Oh, I guess that could happen. But I don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah. So everyone, it's got a 78 Metacritic score. So it's generally good, but I didn't, I thought the tropes were a little heavy-handed, especially the gaslighting thing. And I know they were trying to make a point, but it seemed unrealistic how not subtle they were being.
Yeah. So the Barbarian came out. What? It was a couple years ago, right?
Oh yeah, 2 years ago. Okay, so here I was thinking that it was recent, but I have to remember when it comes to Hulu, it's probably a year or two older. But Hulu was like saying, "Man, you should watch Barbarian. It's wonderful. Yay."
Yeah, and it was the directorial debut of Zach Crager, who you might know from The Whitest Kids You Know.
Okay, that is hilarious.
Right.
Because I love that show.
Right.
And it lives rent-free in my head, their skits that they do. Mm-hmm. And I would never associate anything on that show with the movie that I saw.
Yeah, right? It's like he's another, sketch comedy legend doing horror. It's really funny. But he's also he's gonna do he's working on a new movie that's coming out next year, I think, with another horror movie with a pretty A-list cast with Josh Brolin and Julia Gardner and Eidenreich. Sorry.
Oh.
Called Weapons. So
Weapons.
Yeah, so 2026, and maybe we'll get around to talking about that in a year or so.
Interesting. I'm probably going to hear about it in 2 years. Oh, Mike, we need to watch this on Hulu.
That's funny.
Yeah. And my final nugget is I got my son into Scooby-Doo. And so I feel like a proud, accomplished father. He thinks Scooby-Doo's hilarious. He does his two favorite things. He eats as much as he can and acts silly all the time about monsters. So it's a win-win situation. I found like a made-for-TV Scooby-Doo movie that's got Robbie Amell as Fred, and I started to watch it, and I thought it was pretty funny, though it got like really low really low scores. But one of the things on that DVD is old WB trailers, and one of the trailers is Gremlins. And, it's one of those classic, like, early 90s trailers, which it has that very, like, it's not very thematic. It just has, like, a warm, tell you what you need to know voice. Like, Billy leads a boring life, but when he opens a box...
Right.
It's that. And one of the things that impressed me about that trailer is that the trailer does not show many pictures of the gremlins. So they make you kind of guess what the monster that it is they're referring to. So it's not a reveal all trailer. You get to see the back of like Gizmo's head. And so with that, you kind of have to see the movie to enjoy the actual monster in it. So I was impressed with that.
Yeah. No, that's just a recipe for, some good wholesome family fun.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I again, I would be interested to see if you could pull a kid from the 80s and you're like, "Hey, what do you think is going to be, one of the longest running most popular cartoons from, 40 years from now?" And you were like, Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Scooby Doo. I don't know if too many kids would say Scooby Doo. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like we look back on it now very favorably, but it's at the time. I mean, of course it's popular, but it didn't feel like it reached the heights of like He-Man or GI Joe or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not that those other franchises aren't doing well for themselves, but of the shows that are currently getting new adaptations almost yearly. I don't know if they would have
Mhm.
picked Scooby Doo.
Right. There's something about Hanna-Barbera that, like, it's not at the top. None of those cartoons are at the top of anyone's list. Yeah, like Grape Ape, Kung Fu Hound is not going to beat out Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny. But like they live in like this faithful part of your memory where you know in the back of your head that these cartoons have done no wrong and they're always there for you. They'll just never be your best.
Yeah, totally agree. And on top of that, how many of these shows are like so currently like in the zeitgeist? You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows Scooby Doo, but you ask a panel of kids now if they know who G.I. Joe is, they just might not.
Yeah, right. You don't want to be at the top, but you can stick around. You know, I've, the premise for Scooby Doo is actually really, really smart. And whoever came up with that, like, struck pay dirt. The idea of a team of mystery solvers going around and meeting all these villains that have the same idea, dress up as something scary, scare away all the people so that they force to either, like, retire, quit, sell their business, and then they secretly reap the rewards. I'm thinking to myself, has anyone ever tried this in real life?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, like when I was a kid, I was like, this is how all crimes are committed.
Yes. Like I'm just thinking, like, man, if I had like a vengeance against Best Buy, I dress up as the haunted VHS tape and
Right.
run around during the late hours, forcing it out of business so that Circuit City can have its revenge.
Yeah, right.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, Mike, if you, I know you just gave a real quick off the top of your head example, but Mike, if you were to, seriously try to commit a crime as, a monster, what would you do? What's your What's your move?
Oh gosh, I don't think of myself as scary, so this is a hard question.
Yeah.
Uh, gosh, the question is, what would I like to get revenge on?
Mm,
Because that's what a Scooby Doo villain does: is
right.
they switch it to their own benefit. I guess I'd want to, I'd want to hang out near the White House, dressed up as haunted George Washington,
Yeah,
uh, until they give up the two-party system and add third and fourth parties.
I love that for you, Mike.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then when they demask me, they're like, I knew it was that angry lobbyist Mike Mordanga. He wanted a third and fourth party.
Oh man, it's such a shame that our current socioeconomic system has put you to this, Mike.
Yeah. But I feel like this is the last straw. Like, we have to do it the Scooby way to get some results, because democracy's not getting them.
Right. Totally agree. Well, Mike, you've been plugging away at the movies, and I haven't seen any movies of note personally as of late, but I did just finish up an anime season, and I feel like it's my duty as the resident anime watcher on the
Right.
show to give out recommendations. And the summer season just ended for anime, so I finished up watching this anime called Wisteria Wand and Sword.
Oh.
It's very it's it's kind of it's action adventure fantasy. It's about a kid who lives in a world where magic power is king, but he has no practical magical knowledge, and he's more like a swordsman. And but his best friend growing up is like a magical prodigy, and in this world, if you're a magical prodigy, you get to move up the ranks, and you become part of like this ruling class of wizards. So he's trying to work his way there, and the show takes place around him at a magical school, and the animation is smooth and beautiful. The action sequences are really great. The voice actors are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're into shonen anime, this 2 thumbs up.
All right. Yeah. This is the part where I'd be like, oh, that kind of sounds like, insert anime. But I do not have a backlog like you and your brother. So I'm just going to be like, yeah, it sounds like, I don't know, Sailor Moon, Record of
Yeah,
Lodoss War.
perfect.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Mm,
The Legend of Lara Croft is
yeah,
billed as an anime.
sure.
And yes, it's got the brightness of an anime, and it's, I guess, if you're gonna call The Last Airbender an anime, it's a similar style, though
Mm.
more realistic, less cartoony. And I feel like that word anime is basically put in the place of any cartoon that looks action, thematic, and clean looking.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the term, I mean, the term used to mean kind of like, what champagne means.
Yeah.
It's only, it's champagne if it's from the Champagne region of France. Everywhere
Yeah.
else it's just sparkling sparkling wine.
Yep.
Anime used to just mean, it's made and animated usually by hand, mostly by hand, by Japanese artists and studios. But I think the term has grown a little bit. I still think that there's a lot of people that would say, sure, Tomb Raider might be in an anime style, but it's because it's American.
Right.
It's not because it's animated by um an English studio that it just it's not. But it's cool that the art style is starting to spread, and people are taking their own takes on it.
Yeah. It's interesting now. I think it's kind of a buzzword, and that
Yeah.
word is synonymous with, you're going to see some very clean, action-filled stuff that's not like silly or cartoony.
Yeah, and I think that there are cartoons, animations from the West that can and do rival the best that's come out of Japan. Stuff like Castlevania. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool seeing that it's growing.
Yeah. No other country's animation style is like taking over. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would have to say that Netflix is like synonymous with like coming out with an anime every 3 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
because my front page will be like, oh, watch Terminator Zero, watch Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, watch, One Piece, the newest season, and Delicious Dungeon. I'm just naming off the ones that are all,
They're on your page.
yeah, Ranma
Yeah.
Half. Oh, of course, the Venture Brothers. That has to be anime now, right?
Right, right. It's not one thing, it's something else.
Yep. Oh, anime lovers, and Hulu too. Hulu is like, they got like the whole shonen thing, Shonen Jump series, and so anime lovers are eating very well.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're definitely we're definitely in a golden age for access, and I think there's some really cool creative projects that are that are out
Mhm.
and on the horizon. So it's a good time to get into it.
Mm, yes. And time to put on my old grandpa hat and say, in 1996, I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch one dubbed episode of Sailor Moon.
Right. Or
And
Yu-Gi-Oh or
yeah,
Gundam.
The Americanized version of Mega Man was on at 6:30, and sometimes it was the very clean and edited Darkstalkers American size that's a blasphemy to all anime. And that was what we got as a kid.
And we liked it.
Yes. And that made us feel cultural.
Right. No, I totally get it.
Mm,
And yeah, I do think that there's sadly like a subset of people online that are, big mad about it. They're like,
yeah.
"Oh, no, like they try to gatekeep it, but I'm excited, like I don't now I don't have to pirate stuff to be able to watch the shows that I want to watch."
Right. Go on those very questionable websites
Yeah, right.
where every time you click, it traffics someone. And
Right.
I'm glad you don't have to go there either.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And like growing up in youth group, we'd be like, "Well, have you sinned today? Or you're going on websites you shouldn't be going on?" I was like, "Does this count? I don't know if it does."
I mean, it's supply and demand, really.
Like I'm just trying to watch Full Metal Alchemist.
Right. Yeah. So good times, good memories.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm putting on the old man hat again, just to say, when we got cable back in 97-ish, 96-ish,
Mm-hmm.
the Sci-Fi Channel, back when
Yeah.
it was spelled correctly.
Yeah,
Um,
what was up with that? What's with the name change?
well, I think they spelled it wrong, so you don't think it's just science fiction. You can throw in some
Fantasy?
fantasy in there too. But
Crazy. They should have
when
kept
it
it.
when it was sci-fi, they had the anime movie every Saturday morning, and
Mm.
I was glued to it. I was Robot Carnival was part of it. A very very edited Wicked City.
Mm.
Uh, it was good. I'm like, I am so cultural and so cool for watching this. Thank you, parents, for spending $50 a month.
Right. And that's
to
like
watch-
late 90s, early 2000s money.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean we're definitely spoiled for choice.
hmm Well, Adam, I can go. My last parting shot
Yes.
is I'd always seen this on my Netflix queue, and I knew it was a DC as a DC comic book based on their story. But I finally saw Sweet Tooth,
Mm.
and my goodness, I was hooked.
Yeah.
First of all, the cute child, the like the innocent son. So it's about a son who has antler ears, and how his father, or maybe his foster dad, or we don't know yet. I haven't gotten that far, but kept him in the woods to keep him safe because they're killing half human, half hybrid children. And like the story kind of mixes like the innocence and the cuteness of this child who's just like does everything with awe and wonder, and like just a sense of like so much innocence, and it mixes it with like this dystopian world, like not unlike uh The Walking Dead. So somehow they got like that sugar and spice, and they put it together in such a magical way that like, and it does not help that I'm a father of a 4-year-old who is equally as cute. And so whenever I see this kid, I'm like, oh, so sad. I love you, Sweet Tooth. I'll adopt you. But meanwhile, these, you see like people dying from this virus, and trying to survive in war-torn America with everyone
Mm.
being poor. So I cannot just go watch it. Just, you have to watch it. I'm putting all my chips on the table. Anything else I've ever recommended, you could just throw that away and watch Sweet Tooth.
Right? Yeah, definitely go give that a look.
Yeah. And I've also read the graphic novel it's based on. And originally the kid is kind of like backwoods and kind of like hickish. And I'm glad they didn't go with that. Because he would have not been that fun to watch or that pleasing. You know, he was like spitting, I tell you what, mister, I can't read. I'm glad they didn't go with that. You know, they went with the, oh, gee, mister.
Golly.
Let me use my cute little deer ears to listen for hunters.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
stuff.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Good parting shot, Mike.
Yes. And so now we close the first half of our episode. Second half, we're going to be talking about Jennifer Lawrence and her career retrospective. All right. Thank you for listening. And I've been Mike.
I'm Adam.